Alexa Bliss and what's going on with her currently is the hot topic. People like it, people don't like it. But I thought it's time to dive deep into the world of theories and explain what's going on with Lilly. Now, on WWE TV recently, we've been seeing that WWE are trying to convince us that Lilly has been with Alexa Bliss all throughout her life, through childhood, etc. This doll, Lilly, has been there. And Lilly, to Alexa Bliss, seemingly has some kind of supernatural power, and this entity is guiding Alexa Bliss into what she's doing now on WWE television. For months, we've watched the feud between Randy Orton and the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, develop on WWE TV. We didn't. We, in fact, didn't see the feud between Randy Orton and the Fiend build for months and months and months. Hell, Bray wasn't even there for nearly 3 months of that entire feud. Instead, this feud has always had someone in the middle of it. Alexa Bliss. So what if WWE never set up the feud between Randy Orton and the Fiend? What if Bray Wyatt's story was never the Randy Orton feud yet? What if this feud was a smokescreen and it was all to get Alexa? If we look at what happened with Seth Rollins is someone we love to theorize because he became the Messiah. And the thing is, he believed he was the Messiah. That's the most crucial part of the Seth Rollins story. He believed what he was doing was for the greater good. The theories would say that Seth Rollins, well, he snapped. He snapped at Hell in a Cell when the Fiend would not die. He did everything he could to keep the Fiend down, and the Fiend kept getting up. The Fiend was the unbeatable monster, and Seth Rollins snapped. Seth Rollins threw everything he could at Bray Wyatt, and Bray just laughed in his face. In fact, the feud ended with the Fiend taking the Universal Championship from Seth Rollins in Saudi Arabia in what was a huge shock, genuinely breaking Seth Rollins. This championship is a world title. It's what Seth Rollins has always worked for. He could not conquer the monster, the Fiend, and therefore he snapped. He became the Messiah, born out of confusion, born out of insanity. Seth Rollins did the job of the greater good. Could it be that that is exactly what has happened to Alexa Bliss? Now, she doesn't believe she's a Messiah, but with the Fiend being set on fire at TLC, she did snap. Randy Orton setting the Fiend on fire led us to Monday Night Raw following TLC, where we saw Alexa Bliss douse herself in gasoline, willing to offer herself as a sacrifice to Randy Orton. She wanted to be with the Fiend so badly that she finally snapped. If this is what the Fiend intended the entire time, this could have been the smokescreen. This could have been what we was meant to be looking at. In the Firefly Funhouse, she was happy, she was safe, she was cool, she was having fun with her friends. And then they went away. So what do you do then? What are you left with when you've given up everything? Insanity. The Funhouse story itself told us, with the introduction of Friendship Frog, that Alexa Bliss would kill Friendship. Alexa Bliss would be the one to basically kill Friendship Frog in the Firefly Funhouse, leaving us to go today and look back and go, now that makes sense that Alexa Bliss turned on the Fiend. Bray Wyatt knew this was going to happen the whole damn time. I still miss you, Friendship Frog. But why would Bray Wyatt do this to Alexa Bliss? Why? What reason is there? We know Bray Wyatt's story is called Revenge as a Confession of Pain. The whole point of the Funhouse of the Fiend is for Bray Wyatt to get revenge on the people who have wronged him in the past. Well, that's exactly what happened. Braun Strowman told us everyone that encounters the Fiend changes. And yes, we saw Alexa Bliss change when she joined the Funhouse, but ultimately her believing in Lilly is the ultimate change there is. She is now absolutely lost in a world of paranoia, confusion, and insanity. Maybe this was the revenge Bray Wyatt had for Braun Strowman the entire time, taking his best friend and changing her completely. And Alexa Bliss has always wanted to work with Bray Wyatt. That's been documented for a long time. And maybe there's an element here of Bray Wyatt saying, hey, be careful what you wish for. You've always wanted to do this with me? Fine. Let's take you to the brink of insanity. And on a character level, you're now stuck in limbo with this character, with Lilly the doll, with this supernatural entity. And hey, guess what? Alexa Bliss, you now believe this doll has been with you for eternity and that this doll is going to be the one to take you to the next level. And much like Seth Rollins' character, it will be successful because that's the beauty of Bray Wyatt changing people. He changes people for a reason. And the reason is simple. He changed. He's always told us how he's different. He doesn't quite fit in. He's not normal. Well, that's because that's what the critics, that's what other people would say about Bray Wyatt. So he's harnessed that hate and made it into the Fiend, the entity that then now changes other people. And Alexa Bliss is just that. Bray Wyatt told us that the world is not round. He told us dinosaurs were extinct. Two blatant lies from Funhouse Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt lying to us. And I think kind of saying, maybe you shouldn't believe everything you see and that you're told on WWE TV because you never know when it's going to be a smokescreen, when it is going to be a swerve, and you never quite know what is going on. And think about it. If you had to go away and you had to do something so dramatic like being set on fire, and hell, it doesn't have to be that. You could say, hang him, stab him, shoot him, whatever it might be. You go to one person you know is the most cold, calculated viper in wrestling history. The one man who would actually light the match and throw it. And that's Randy Orton. With Bray Wyatt's history, of course, if he's looking for that, he's going to turn to Randy. And if that's the case, the beauty of this storyline is that the feud between Randy and the Fiend is not over. In fact, it never even began. It was just a way for the Fiend to manipulate and use Randy Orton, punishing him at the same time, to get what he needed to be done to make Alexa Bliss snap. And that is exactly now the payoff we're getting on WWE TV. I do believe that the Fiend is not done. I do believe Bray Wyatt will be back. He might change things up completely. As he said, there will be changes in the Funhouse. But I think the reason we're seeing Alexa and Lilly so much is because they're trying to establish this character. And if you have both running at the same time, one is always going to overshadow the other. Maybe Alexa snapping was a complete mistake. We know that she's the only person we've seen so far stop the mandible claw by simply being nice to the Fiend. So maybe Bray Wyatt thought, hey, Alexa Bliss is immune to this, and maybe that's why I can welcome her into the Firefly Funhouse, and we can be friends. Finally, someone who's not going to, fall prey to my superior mental destruction that I cause. And maybe that explains the fear and the shock at WrestleMania when he realised, oh, she did snap. Oh, she wasn't immune to it. Oh, what the hell is she now? That is a distinct possibility. Maybe the Fiend never intended for this to actually happen, but it's an outcome of what happened. And it makes sense that then Alexa Bliss is still in Alexa's playground. The Fiend created this world for Alexa Bliss. He created the playground. So maybe that's why he doesn't mind her still using it, because he knew this was the intention. Maybe he didn't do it unintentionally. Maybe it was an intentional thing this entire time to get back at Braun Strowman by making his best friend become a demonic demon. And if it is following the Seth Rollins Messiah story kind of outline, if you will, Alexa Bliss is unlikely now to interact with Bray, interact with the Fiend, because he's got exactly what he wanted. And I think then when we see Funhouse Bray finally return, we'll see him go a different direction with a whole different feud and different characters and whatever else, possibly. But it's an interesting theory to think that all of this currently going on in WWE with Lilly is all in Alexa's head, and it's all a creation of the Fiend. If you're watching on the premiere and you was here before the video started and you saw the trailer for the premiere, I'm sorry if that scared you. It was fun and I told you it would never go away. But make sure you like the video, share the theory video, of course subscribe to the channel if you're new, consider turning on notifications so you never miss an upload, and I will as always see you next time. Peace!